Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be general messages for the sign of Leo in the month of January 2019. Hello, 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 Leo. What's up, guys? How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Excuse me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. Okay. New Year, new us, right? Gosh, let's hope, right? Let's hope. Yeah, Leo, I hope your holidays went well. I hope you guys had a wonderful New Year, surrounded by friends and family, people you love and people who love you back. If not, I hope it gets better from now, you know? Leo, that's your main spread there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading begins. There'll be a timestamp in the box below for when that is. You can go ahead and click it if you want to jump ahead. Also down there, you're going to see the information on how to get a reading with me if you are ever so inclined. You can also use that email address to send me a question about readings or a question about something I may have said previous to this, or just ask me a general question. I don't care. I'm open to all types of communication for now. But definitely also down there is how you do the personal readings if you're curious about how to do that, okay? You may notice my voice is a little bit different if you're familiar with my readings, if you've been to my channel before. I am getting over a cold. I think I've got a day or two left before I'm actually back to normal. So if I have to pause the video because I'm sneezing or coughing, I apologize, but I'd much rather do that away from you guys than do it on camera, just because I simply think it's gross and I don't want to do it, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get the outcome for Leo in January 2019. Oh, nice. Bottom of the deck is the overall. Oh, get together. There. Gosh, that bottom card is being a little stubborn. Maybe we'll look at it after. We'll see. Alright. And let's turn over the remaining cards that came face down. Interesting. That's a little like that and like that. Maybe look pretty good on camera. Oh no, we're a little bit too. There we go. That was a little too much of the table. Alright guys, there's the main spread. Please show me Leo in January 2019. Please show me where Leo is in January 2019. Please show me. Is that right? Here and here. Okay, so two different places, but they started me here, so we're going to start there. All right, Leo, coming into January, come in as the High Priestess. Oh, boy. This card is definitely pretty different from traditional interpretations of this card, or depictions, I should say, especially in the Rider-Waite deck, so I'll let you take a look at it. But obviously, what stands out to me there is that reflection, right? And there's sort of like this dissonance or some type of irreconcilable thing going on between the figure above the water and the figure below. It's meant to be a reflection, but then it's also muddled. So there is this idea here for you, Leo, that there's one side of you or one part of you, part of your consciousness, that is pretty clear. I think that it's well defined to you and you understand it. And there's another part of your consciousness, probably the subconscious, that you're not as well aware of, you're not able to get a clear grasp on, and you're not able to really make heads or tails of. It's very, very confusing. It's very muddied, right? Like, in general, this card in this deck, which is the English Tarot, in case you're curious, it's pretty busy. Like I said, it's very different from the traditional depiction. And it's a little wild, right? That hair, like, just whipped up in the wind or whipped up in something. And then that very distorted figure in the water or on the bottom half of this card. Ay, Dios mío, like, And there is this dichotomy, or there is this slicing between the light and the dark, right? There's a lighter background above and a darker background below. So I feel for you, Leo, perhaps your conscious self, your everyday, day-to-day self, is a little wild right now, or a little bit energized right now. If you're not wild, if you're not like bouncing off the walls, you know, kind of being your high energy, you know, very gregarious kind of Leo self, I think that you just have this amped up energy within you. I think you're very active in your mind, if not your body, but specifically your mind. Your imagination might be going, you might be in a highly creative mode right now. And that, to me, is serving you well. I think that that's actually good. I think that that's actually helping you, you know, deal with the mundanes of life. You know, we are in a winter period up here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're all, you know, detoxing from the holidays, trying to get all those sugar cookies, you know, out of our bodies, and, you know, coming out of our turkey and ham comas from holiday dinners. And we're recuperating from our wild night out on New Year's Eve, or, you know, wild night in my case, on New Year's Eve, drinking and having a good time with friends. So it's coming back to that, you know, crashing right back down to earth, you know, going and getting up and going to work, going to school every day, doing what you have to do every day. It can be a little dull. So I think to compensate for the dullness of life, the predictability, or the monotony of life right now, your mind is like going 100 miles a minute. You have all these creative ideas. You're out, you know, socializing with people maybe, and you're wanting to have great conversations with people. So your mind and your consciousness is very busy. What's going on subconsciously is, I think there's something there in this bottom half, right, that is distorted from you, or somehow distant from you, or somehow it's connected, but the connection has a lot of static in it. It's not a clear connection. And it's there. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be addressed, because the High Priestess talks about, you know, sort of the Alpha and Omega, the knowledge between Alpha and Omega, aka everything in the universe, everything that we can understand and everything that we can't understand. And so there will always be a disconnect when you talk about the High Priestess card. There's always going to be something that seems to be laden in secrecy, or kind of hidden behind a veil. So maybe that's what it is like you're very much aware of the veil, but you're also like not paying the veil any attention, because ironically you understand you're not meant to know what's behind that veil, or you have no ability to comprehend what's behind the veil, so why pay it any attention? And the thing that is striking here is, and I don't think that you can necessarily tell, but the arms of the figure above is reaching, are reaching into the waters below. So there is this conscious desire, ironically, or strangely, not even ironically, but strangely, to connect with the subconscious, even though you know you can't. So that could be sort of the symptom of that, or the outcome of that could be this high energy, high imagination, high creativity point in your life, where because things are kind of, you know, on a schedule, on a loop in your day-to-day life, you know, get up 8 a.m., eat breakfast, leave the house by 8:45, blah, blah, you know, you could like set your life to a Swiss watch, right? Because that's also predictable. There's this interest in knowing what you don't know already, or getting more information than you already have, but you also know there's like a block to it, or the connection is not so clear. So you're reaching out to something that you can't necessarily connect to, and I think the outcome of that, the symptom of that, or the product of that, is this high creativity point, this high imagination point in your life, this interest in things that maybe you haven't been interested in before, or this newfound passion or obsession in some cases. You know, I don't know about you, but there are some of us in life, not just Leos, but there are some of us in life who like get really fixated on something, spend like months or years doing that thing, and then move on to something else. So some of you might have that going on, where maybe you recently got into, you're like, you know what, I just want to try axe throwing, and so you start going to axe throwing classes, and you read up on lumberjacking, and so you know, maybe you like start, if you're a man, maybe start growing your beard out or something like that, and you buy a bunch of flannel and suspenders. I don't know. Maybe like that's your mode right now is lumberjack Leo. I don't know. But that intent to know what you don't know leads to you learning about things you don't know in the mundane world, in the real world, right? So you take up hobbies you've never had before. You get into social circles that you haven't been a part of before. You might reconnect with people that you may have lost touch with. You go back and you meet up with people from your elementary school days, something like that. You volunteer yourself in new ways, whatever. And the downside to this is what you're trying to connect to, which is this greater understanding about yourself, perhaps this greater understanding about life and the cosmos and all that kind of stuff, is actually still lost to you. But what you're gaining is a great knowledge or a great connection in this new endeavor, in these new hobbies, in these new social connections, okay? So that's good and bad, if you want to think about it like that. You know, you're learning new skills, you're meeting new people, that's great. But you're not getting what you actually want, which is enlightenment, or which is, you know, understanding some part of your subconscious, understanding some deep part of yourself that for a while has been intangible, or and will remain intangible for a while, I feel. And that's disappointing to you. That part is disappointing. You're not disappointed with, you know, lumberjacking and, you know, meeting up with friends for brunch that you haven't seen in a while. You're fine with all that, but it's disappointing that you can't access certain things about yourself, or about your place on this earth, or about this place or this dynamic that you have within a relationship, within yourself. It's just, you know, it's one of those things. You're like, you know, you want it and you can't have it, but at least you are able to throw an axe now. You know, it's like a consolation, a good consolation. You're not like bitter about it. It's not like, you know, let's make a deal and they send you home with a life supply of lemons or something. It's like, no, you actually do enjoy the other things that you're getting out of it, but the satisfaction, the deep satisfaction, is missing. That's it. The deep satisfaction, the deep contentment, the deep feeling of new knowledge is not there. Okay? And that makes you feel like this. Eight of Swords, right? Constricted, restricted, feeling blind or feeling blindfolded, and, you know, kind of stuck in a way. But this particular depiction of the Eight of Swords, I feel, is a little more interesting than the traditional. As you can see, there are 7 swords in the ground. So this woman is encapsulated or surrounded by these swords, which is very similar to the traditional depiction. But the difference here is she's not fully bound. So her arms are up, she's holding onto one of those swords, and she's ready to take action. She's ready to swing that sword herself. She's still blindfolded. So again, that echoes to what we're talking about. Your action, you're able to get up and do things physically, like hold the sword and swing it. So you're out there going about things, battling your mundane life, trying to get connected with perhaps your higher self, if this is a spiritual thing, trying to get connected with your subconscious, if this is more of a textbook medical or psychomedical thing. So maybe you're, you know, going to therapy, maybe you are reading self-help books, maybe you're meditating, you're doing whatever. You're doing all these things, but the irony is you can't see anything. You still can't see. So you can throw 1,000 axes, you can grow your beard to the tips of your toes, but you're still not going to be able to see what you want to see so badly. So very different from the traditional Rider-Waite depiction of this card, where again, the woman in that card is blindfolded and she's bound, hands behind her back and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you still have your wrist tied. Come on. You still have your wrist tied in this card, but again, you have this mobility. She can still take a full swing with that sword if she wants to. So it's kind of like close but no cigar. You know, maybe you're operating at 80% capacity, or you're a certain ways along the path to getting what you want, but then there's just this total blockade. There's a total brick wall, and you can't see past it. And so, frustrated, sad, angry, disappointed. It's one of my favorite memes, I'm sorry. And you feel, that's it. You feel like, well, you know, I'm aware, because that's the other thing, going back to the High Priestess. High Priestess has awareness in all facets, from all angles, has awareness. So you're aware already that you can't move past a certain point with this thing. And Leo, you can be stubborn, you can be very fixed on what you want. So just because you know, and I think this will make sense to a Leo, because, you know, I myself am a Leo, so, you know, I'm talking to my people here. I think that you guys know when a Leo wants something, even if they know they're not going to get it, they still want it. Okay? Just because you're told or you're somehow in the know that, hey, despite whatever efforts you put forth, you're probably not going to get that thing that you want, you're still going to put forth that effort. You know what I mean? This is not in the context, this is not the specific context that I want to talk about, but the meaning is there. So in the original Dumb and Dumber movie with Jim Carrey and, what's that guy's name? Daniel something Daniel? It doesn't matter, the other guy. In that movie, Jim Carrey has a scene with the female lead. I think it's Laura Holloman or something like that. Or I don't remember her name. It doesn't matter. And he's like, so I like you, and like I was hoping we could go out on a date or something like that. And she's like, she's basically like, well, that's a 1 in a million chance. And he's like, so you're saying there's a chance. 1 in a million, terrible odds. But that 1 out of a million times, oh yeah, he's banking on that time. So that's not like in a creepy, I don't want to date you, I'm trying to let you down easy type of way, and you're persisting. Not in that way, but in the idea of anything. If a Leo wants something bad enough and they're told the odds are stacked against them, they can't accomplish that, or you're probably going to fail, or you're probably going to be disappointed, or you're probably not going to get what you want. Hearing the stats, hearing the probability on it, oh, so there's a 20 in 19,000 chance? You know, I'm just throwing out arbitrary numbers, but you're just like, whatever the percentages of success, no matter how small it is, Leo will still try. Leo will still go, well, I want it, so I'm going to go for that. That, I feel, is the energy here. I feel for many of you, it's going to be this enlightenment thing. It's going to be this understanding of self thing. And, you know, the blocking, the brick wall thing. I'm not someone who has had this, but I know people who have trauma in their lives. And they literally, from what I understand, what I've read and what I've talked to with other people, there is literally something that happens in the brain that it closes off that bit of trauma to you. Because that's the brain's way, that's the body's way of preserving the self and protecting the self. So you consciously will never, most likely never, I should say, be able to access that point of trauma again, because it was so just, it would have annihilated you to remember it in full. So some of you might be dealing with something so unfortunately tragic like that, where there may have been a significant loss to you. There may have been a significant event of violence in your life. And you feel knowing more about that moment will help you. But your subconscious and the powers that be across the universe, whatever it is, and even doctors, psychiatrists or psychologists might be advising you, hey, we don't want to go too far into that, at least not right now. And maybe that's the issue also, is you want this thing, but you can't have it right now. So the probability will increase as time goes on. But as we know, as Leos, right now is the is underlined. But I want it now, like that kid from Willy Wonka, the original, Veruca Salt. Oh my God. I want it now. Like, that's us. I want to goose that lady's golden eggs for Easter. Well, you can get that after. No, I said now. I want it right now. Okay? So there's that. It's not impatience. It's more of a, I believe I'm ready. my mind is right. I have a goal with this thing. If I get this done, then I can do other things. If I, have this enlightenment, then I can move on and focus on other areas of my life. But something is saying not right now. And Leo is like, what do you mean not right now? I'm going to keep swinging at this thing because I said I want it now. And the universe, other people, even your higher self or even your instincts are saying, we should just let this go and, just relax a little bit. And another part of you is like, nah, man, right now. Okay. So that kind of creates what's going on here in the middle, I think, is this block, because I don't normally read reversals as blocks, but in this deck, it's usually very straightforward with the reversals. They're usually a block. It's not a toning down of, it's usually just a block for me with this deck. And so, yeah. Okay. Which one? Okay. So you've got this Page of Wands in reverse. I'll show you this upright so you can see it, because I don't use this. I've never used this deck live online before, but I've used it in my personals. Just so you can become aware, that's what it looks like upright. But again, it came reversed. So pages are, our best intentions. They're very lively. They're very spirited. They have a lot of energy. They have a lot of charisma. They just are quite naive about it, and they're a little less experienced than the knights, and of course they're way less experienced than a queen or a king. 1 second. All right, Leo, sorry about that. So, yeah, pages are the least experienced of the court card. So there's that childlike energy, or that energy of inexperience. For some of you, it might be an actual child, but I normally don't say that, so I don't know why I'm saying it. But some of you, this might deal with a child who might be a little bit bratty at the moment. And some of you might be acting a little bit bratty, or acting a little bit more immaturely, not necessarily bratty, but acting a little bit more immaturely than your age might kind of make people believe you should be acting, or believe you should be behaving, and it's tied to, comes right next to the High Priestess energy, where I was talking about that upper portion of the card being aligned to like a wild behavior, or just like fiery, very boastful energy. And interestingly, the block comes because I think you're doing these things, or you're interested in things, but what's like the long-term ramifications, or what's the long-term added value, essentially, of whatever you're doing. If you did literally take up a new hobby or a new sports activity, such as axe throwing or rock climbing, but you live in, like, a place without rocks, like if you live, like, I don't know, anywhere where you can't rock climb, I don't know. But, whatever you're doing, like, does it have long-term practicality? What are the long-term implications and the consequences of what you're doing? And the Page of Wands normally doesn't look at that, normally doesn't think about long-term plans. The planning begins when you hit the Knight of Wands, or the Knight of Cups, or whatever knight you're talking about. That's when the planning and plotting and being a little bit more methodical comes in. The Page is really just like that bright idea, not the greatest execution, or not the most practical execution of things. And being that it's in reverse, oh boy, I think it's just whatever you're doing, it's just a nice way to spend your time, and I think you ought to take it as that. If you're looking at what you've started doing, this new hobby, hanging out with these new people, making new social engagements, whatever you're doing, I don't think you want to place your bets on that. I think you should really enjoy it for what it is, enjoy it in the moment, but not really look at it to be sort of the end-all, be-all of whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, or give you a certain feeling. Some of you might be chasing a feeling. I think I said that down here, or something about obsessions, and I may not have articulated on that, but some of you might have fixations, like you need to be invested in certain things, you need to have things that you can go to, and sort of spend your time and your energy in, whether that be quote-unquote good things or bad things. And I think this new thing is not necessarily something you want to spend the next few months or years of your life giving time and energy into. I think it's good for the day-to-day. I think it's good to let off steam. I think it's good to, sort of meet up with people and shoot the breeze, but don't look for especially if you're making new friends or you're reconnecting with people you haven't talked to in years, don't look at these people and think, oh, I'm about to make a best friend up in here. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think enjoy them for who they are, enjoy them for what they bring to the table in the moment, but don't think you can just call these people and talk to them hours in the night. You know what I mean? And that's okay for now. Your reading more than the others so far seems pretty condensed. It feels like it's not going to be this long outstretch of circumstance beyond January into later parts of 2019. I feel like this is really kind of speaking to your now, okay? Not much to your future, but your now, okay? And above you, you've got your Queen of Wands in reverse. Show you upright so you can become used to it. And then we go ahead and we bounce her on her head, right? So, oh, why did you out of focus? Come on now. There you go. So the Queen of Wands is very demonstrative, right? Very much an energy about control, about feeling who you are, knowing who you are, and living as who you are. There's a lot of authenticity in her. There's a lot of prowess and not overt, but certainly covert. No, not what is the word? Give me the word. That's not the word. Obvious power. Converter. What was it? Covert? No. Obvious power. Excuse me. And it's sort of like this whole leadership thing. I'm saying a lot of things that might sound egotistical and conceited, and other people might read it that way. People around you might read it that way. Normally, when the Queen of Wands is in her upright position, I should say. People might read it that way as, oh, she thinks she's all that, or he thinks he's all that. It doesn't have to be just, pardon me, because the Queen is here doesn't mean we're talking about females. It can apply to males too. But you, Leo, when you're in your upright energy, people might think you're obnoxious. People might think that you're really condescending or patronizing to other people, and you think you know best, and da-da-da-da-da. And that might be true. You might literally think, yeah, I know best. I know. But the honest energy behind it is about confidence and dominion over the self. And I think sometimes that can read as that to other people. Other people can take your confidence and your assuredness as being cocky. It's no, I'm just pretty secure in myself. The Queen of Wands, I feel, is one of the more honest, almost possibly too honest, queens, where she knows she can be a bitch and she owns that. She's not going to shy away from it. She's not going to apologize for it. And she will not make amends for it. She will just say, yeah, I can be a bitch, or I can be this. Deal with it. And behind that statement is this desire or this call for others to admit their faults as well. If I'm a bitch, then you're this. And it's not a tit for tat thing. It's not to say I'm better than you because I'm acknowledged. No, I can be this. What can you be? And let's all just accept each other's flaws or setbacks or less desirable attributes, right? That's all in the upright. Now that you have this coming in your reverse, I think for some of you, it's either taking what I just said and then doubling down and really going to that extreme, or what I feel most of you, how it's falling out is you've lost a bit of that. You've lost a little bit of that personal dominion and that personal ownership. And you've kind of got lost in the shuffle, so to speak. Or you're so, thank you. You're so consumed with this and a little bit of that, but particularly this, that people are like, are you even a boss? Because that's something I normally say about the Queen of Wands when she shows up. She a boss. Other people are like, you're a boss? Like, they don't recognize you. So everything that I was saying about her in the upright position, you've lost a bit of that luster. You've lost a little bit of that fire. Or it's kind of dwindling down. Instead of a smoldering fire or a blazing fire, you're kind of like about to burn yourself out. And people aren't necessarily, I'm going to tell you that, they're not necessarily telling you that. They're not going to say, hey, Leo, you're not your fiery self anymore. What's going on? Most people are like, oh my God, she finally shut up. Or he shut up. It doesn't have to, again, there's no gender here. So somebody's like looking at you like, oh my God, Leo's not talking? Thank God. Or, you know, oh, Leo's not as something about themselves anymore. Oh, okay, I'm cool with that. So there might be some shadiness, if I'm honest, which kind of makes sense because you've got like a lot of fabric around her, which in those big drapes in the background. And I meant what I said. There could be some shadiness that you're dealing with from people where to your face, they're one thing, but behind your back, they're another thing. And you being in the reverse with this Leo, you might not easily recognize that. You might not see the shade for what it is. You might not recognize the shade as shade. You might literally let it like fly over your head, because when she's in the upright, the Queen of Wands is sharp as a tack and she suffers no fools. If you want to be shady to me, oh, I will throw the moon on you. I will give you the eclipse of shade. You understand? So your fiery self in some aspect is totally turned down. You know, instead of having the burner on a 10, you're on a 2. Okay? You're simmering. And that, again, is because I think you're so fixated here. You want this so badly and you feel this way that you're kind of like not able to really get to those central parts of yourselves and really utilize or capitalize on your own thrusting, just burning energy. Because you're focusing it elsewhere. You're diverting it somewhere on an internal space. And for now, I think that's okay. Because again, I think this reading, more than the others that I've done so far, is a very much for now. Like a for now, to be continued kind of energy. Okay? Yes, that's why. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's go for it. Where are we going? Yep. Wait. Which? Oh no, I want to talk about, one second, hold on. Leo, oh my God. As I was getting excited, a big, just, attack on my throat was coming, so I had to pause there. So listen, that's what's been going on, right? What we're talking about in those previous 4 cards. What I think is more talking to what might be coming up next, and not like forever, like maybe in a few weeks into February or even into March or something like that, is this resilience or this bounce back effect. Because I feel these blocks here in the center are talking about what's going on with you in your intention, what's going on with you in your actions, or what's going on with you in your mental state, your emotional state, right? Here on the other side, after the blocks are removed, what will remove the blocks? What's going to turn this energy back into its upright positions? I don't know. But what I feel is going on afterwards is this perhaps a merging of energies between you and someone else. Maybe. But where are we going first? I mean, come on, which one? Let me know. Yes, okay, thank you. I'm like, sometimes they're very quick, sometimes they're quicker than I can actually communicate what the hell they're saying, and other times I'm just like, hello, is somebody there? Anyway, strength card. So, card of Leo, woo! Here in your own reading, okay? So, getting back to this, getting back to who you are, the essence of you. You know, not all lions are big and boisterous, not all lions, Leos rather, are out there roaring at everybody that walks past them on the streets. Others are very quiet and docile. They're still very powerful, but they're not, you know, showboaty, you know. So whatever version of Leo you are, you know, when people want to say all Leos are conceited and egotistical and just too much to handle, I'm just like, have you met me? Because I can be, but not all the time. And I've met Leos who are on all the time. Regardless of what version or what type of Leo you are, I think there is this energy, or there's this future focus and possibility for you to get back to the essence of you, which makes sense because that's right down here, across the aisle essentially, or across this barricade, is that High Priestess energy, which again was this whole, going back to it really quickly, that's about self, right? That's about the reflection of self and getting in touch with some part of yourself that you are somehow blocked from or somehow have no access to. And whether or not you gain access to that part, how it's all going to play out, I don't know. But on the other side of it, past the block, is a reunion with the self, a reunion with the self, reignition into your own energy. Why won't you focus when I want you to? There we go. And feeling damn well like, I know who I am. I know what I want. I'm not gonna, not that I think anybody is like challenging you or kind of coming up against you and saying, well, you're being too much, or you can't have what you want to have. It's just like, no, this is more about self-proclamations. This is about self-declarations. This is about what you affirm to yourself every day that you wake up. I am who I am. I know who I am. I know what I want, and I will have what I want. You know, it's just like having a more positive and optimistic outlook on life, or optimistic look on whatever situation or circumstance is facing you. And, you know, the Strength card, you know, for for obvious reasons, talks about having inner strength, having perseverance, having this ability to see yourself through adversity and come out on the other side, maybe a little scarred, maybe a little bit damaged, but certainly not broken. So whatever you're pursuing over here, Leo, it's not going to break you. Whether you get it or not, whether you are smashing your head up against a steel wall, a brick wall, you know, 999,999 times before you hit that millionth time where you break through. You're not going to be broken from having failed, or having been denied, or having been blocked time after time after time after time after time after time. You know, eventually when you stop doing that, or you break through because you've hit that probability sweet spot and you've persisted, you will not be broken, and you will come back to some sense of self. You will come back to some sense of, damn, I am a Leo, fabulous. And it doesn't have to be rooted in your zodiac, obviously, making those statements. I'm Leo, therefore I'm great. No, it's about, I am James, I am Audrey, I am Philippe, whoever you are. That is what is anchored here. Being aware of who you are, recognizing who you are, and valuing who you are, and rising to the occasion. Okay? The other interesting part is that is at the exact diagonal opposite of that Eight of Swords energy. So the antithesis to this, or not the antithesis, but certainly sort of one of the stark contrasts is, there is this, over here with your Eight of Swords again, you do have the act behind it, you just don't have the awareness, and you don't have the line of sight behind it. Once your sight is restored, and your action to swing that sword follows through, and you hit your mark, boom, get back into your Strength card, get back into your own energy, get back into your self-realizations, okay? On top of that, very interestingly, I feel that this could be, for many of you, not all, but many of you, could be another person. You have the Emperor right above the Strength card of Aries, so there might be an Aries of significance around you, but the Emperor is an accomplished person, a very brilliant person, very, very much self-made, or very much is able to stand on their own 2 feet, right? Can be a little cold, can be kind of callous, can be kind of calculated, and often aloof, or often a little isolated from their own emotions, but ultimately strong, ultimately, like epically strong. He is the king of kings, right? So this person, if they're a partner for you, business partner, romantic partner, something like that, they are at least in some part, not in all parts, but at least the counterpart to your strength card. There's a lot of balance between you. If you look at these two cards in their color scheme, there's a lot of balance, right? The reds are balancing, the gold is balancing, the background is the same, the sky is the same, and the color of that room that the Emperor sits in is the same, and the green, or the, I guess for some of you that might come off as gray, but in life it's a green color, is nice and balanced. So there's a complementary element between you two. You're not opposites. Yeah, you're not opposites and you're not the same, but you are complementary. You know, there's enough similarity between the two of you that you can understand each other, that you can see each other's points of view, that you can make headway with one another, and you can compromise with one another, okay? Aries is another fire sign, so there's that overlapping there in terms of astrological sensibilities. You're both fire signs, Aries and Leo, so you're both dynamic people, you're both into creation, you're both into being leaders, or certainly looking at problems and solving them, and becoming useful through I don't want to say practical, because both don't necessarily give too much care about practicality, but usefulness, utility is where the passion is, or where the crux is for most fire signs, is to be useful, to be utilized, to be in the right place at the right time because you have the right skill set. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm excellent at baking, please don't ask me to cook things for your barbecue. Like, I'm a baker. I don't, like, it's similar, sure, and maybe I could do it, but if you want me to bake a cake for a birthday, I got you. If you want me to, like, you know, barbecue, you know, excuse me, you know, tons of burgers and hot dogs, I could do it, but it's not my skill set. You want your best attributes to be the thing that people admire in you, and what you want them to desire you for, or want them to see in you and praise you for. And the Emperor feels the same way. The Emperor also, more than the Strength card, more than your own energy, Leo, wants that control over others. So be wary of that. Okay, if this is a partner, business partner, romantic partner, friendship, I don't care. And it doesn't have to be an Aries person. It's just they would be embodying these characteristics. So look out. But this person would want control over a lot of things, maybe even you. And not explicit control, not control of where you go, what time you're going to be there, all that kind of stuff. But just control as in, I want to know where you are. You can go, I just want to know where you are. And some people, that doesn't bother them. Other people, that would drive them up a wall. For me, I'd be like here or there with it. I'd be like, you know, I'm going over Becky's house or whoever's house. Okay. If that's all you want to know, cool. If you want to know how long I'm going to be at Becky's house, and you want to know when I'm coming home, or all that other, like, that's none of your business, you know. But the Emperor would have that sort of disposition. Oh, and who else is going to be at Becky's house? And what are you guys going to be doing there? And all that kind of stuff. So there might be a little bit of a micromanaging aspect to it. This could be a boss for you. So some of them might be kind of looking over your shoulder, and you'd be like, listen, boss, I got this. Like, you and me, we have the same goals. Just don't come at my door every, like, hour asking what's going on. If I said I was going to do it, I'm going to do it. Leave me alone, you know? Hands off. So there might be some contention there between the Emperor and the Strength card. 1 second. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get to your outcome card for January. Oh, man. Oh, let me just... I came back here, and I'm like, oh, we're to the outcome. Hold on. That was everything with these two? Control, a little bit of control issue. Right. Quickly, before I finish up with the reading. that whole element of they might want to be controlling, they might want to sort of micromanage you. The Strength card is an independent card, and Leos are known for fierce independence. Like, as much as Leos are known to be social creatures and, life of the party and always having lots of friends and family around them and all that kind of stuff, they also have a strong solidarity thing. Like, if you really think about lions out in the wild, right? They live in a pride, but oftentimes lions will go, or lionesses specifically, will go hunt on their own, and if they get into a little bit of trouble, they call backup from the girls. They send out whatever little roar or call they do, and then all the other lionesses show up, and you guys take down a wildebeest together. But there's a lot of solidarity in there. If you're a male lion, or if you look at male lions and you're a male, you're the only guy, not to say that's your life here on Earth as a human male, but the male lion, there's usually one in a pride. If there are other males, they have a time limit, and then when they reach a certain age, you got to get up, and you got to get out. So there is this element innately in Leos that allows them to be independent, that allows them to not have to answer to or not feel obliged to answer to anybody else. So this whole micromanage and you want to look over my shoulder and you want to keep track of where I am and who I'm talking to, I think would be the biggest point of contention between you and the Emperor, if it is indeed another person. I feel for many of you it will be another person. If it is the energy of yourself, then you would just be you would then be you would then be molding together or melding together your independence and your fierce need for control. So this might be anchoring down on or doubling down on your own autonomy, being like, look, I'm an independent woman, I'm an independent man, I'm an independent whatever, independent artist, whatever you're doing. And someone might be coming along and saying, well, don't you think you should do this? It's like, boom, you put on your emperor pants. You're like, no, I don't think anything other than what I think. What you think is not relevant here. So shut your face. I got a little heated there, but that might be something that some of you are declaring to other people. If, again, the emperor is not another person. For most, I think many, it will be another person. Now, that was a lot. I said a lot there. If this was like 2 days ago, I would have like choked and died through half of that. Anyway, outcome for January. Page of Coins. Focus, please. There you go. Page of Coins, aka Page of Pentacles. In other decks. So pages, like I said here, are those naive energies. They're often immature, only because of their age, only because of their level of inexperience. And as your outcome, you might be coming across someone who is younger, could be a child in your family, or like a teenager or adolescent type age person who is pragmatic, precocious, a little bit above their years. Like the pages, out of all the pages, the Page of Coins will probably be the most mature out of all of them. So this could be, that slightly older niece or nephew who's like 13, 14 years old, kind of thinks they know everything, and you're like, so tell me about cassette tapes, and they're like, what is that? Like, so they have a lot of knowledge because they live in this modern era where, knowledge is at the tips of their fingers. Out of like 80% of their day, 90% of their day, they're on a smartphone, a tablet, a computer, whatever. But they still have a great wealth of ignorance in them, okay? And the significance of this person, if it is a younger person around you, I think it's just to have a... For some reason, they're telling me, like, some of you might be taking them shopping, and you might be, just like having, spending time with your young niece or nephew, taking them out, for lunch or something like that. Or it could be your own child. It could be your own kid. And you're just, like, spending quality time with this person. That's also what's indicated when we talk about coins or pentacles, the essence of time, things that we value here on Earth. Time being one of them, money being another one. And so just again, spending that quality time with this person. And I think there's something enjoyable about how naive this person is, or how much this person doesn't know about the world. And you might be sort of a shepherd for them. You might be somebody who sort of is ushering them into, or not ushering them, but certainly mentoring them or guiding them as they enter this phase of their life into their adolescence, into their young adulthood, if it's someone a little bit older, right? you know, recent high school graduate or something like that. And I feel that the lesson that you would get from this person, Leo, is a little bit of humility, a little bit of humbleness sometimes, you know, because Leo can be a little bit of a know-it-all. And as much as I would love to think young kids don't know anything, they actually know a lot. They actually are one of the most informed and most progressive and most diverse and embracing of diversity generations of people that have ever existed on Earth. So there's a lot that we as older people can learn from them, right? Is to kind of, you know, take that whole I don't see color thing or everybody here is welcome in my house. Like, take that for reals. Young people really believe that. Like, they preach that, they live that, okay? And not to say all of them. Some of them are real dirtbags. But a lot of them are. And so there might be sort of a softening to your energy or a softening to your demeanor that you could learn from this person, a gentleness or for lack of a better word, a kindness that some Leos might be learning from this person. 1 second. Oh my God. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the last break. Here we go. So yeah, kind of embracing a certain kindness or, you know, softening yourself. You know, maybe you've been a little, I don't know about you, but some young people can really, 1 second. Pardon me. Some young people can really take you there and kind of take you to your breaking point. So there might be like a softening in your connection with this person. If this is your child, or again, like a young niece or nephew, a cousin or something like that. Or maybe like some of you like volunteer with like, you know, what's that? Big brother, little brother, or big brother, little sister, whatever that organization is. I can't remember the name at the moment. But some of you might just have a significant connection with someone who's younger, and maybe at a previous point it was a little contentious. Maybe that was what you were trying to break through. Like, how can I become a better parent, or how can I become a more sympathetic big brother to my little brother through my volunteer program? Like, how can I connect with this kid? And for some reason it involved you and getting into something about your own psychology that you weren't able to break through with. And then maybe sometime after January, I feel this is extending, this particular outcome is extending to beyond January and maybe even into the spring, I'm feeling. And I rarely give temporal forecasts, so take that as you will. But I feel that there's going to be a certain breakthrough with this connection. If this is someone that you have a relationship with, where it may have been a little tight or constricted or tense before, I feel like there's an opening up and there's an ease to that. And that kind of makes sense. If this person, in the form of Page of Pentacles, or Page of Coins, excuse me, Pentacles, again, coins are the slowest of all the elements, right? Coins, pentacles related to earth energy, takes a long time to get things to come to fruition with those elements. So it's a slow burn, not a slow burn, but it's a slow progress. Thank you. Slow progress with this person, and that's okay. I think you can appreciate the work and the effort it's going to take to get to a point of being copacetic with them, and they'll appreciate it too. And I think you'll learn a lot from each other, you know? Like I said, I would love to think I know more than someone who's like 13 years old, but number one, I'm not in school and I'm not dealing with new math, so they got me on that. They know new math, you know? I know long division, but they know new math, you know? So there's a lot that I personally, and I'm sure you might be the same way, Leo, you might not appreciate that a younger person could teach you, but actually they can. And vice versa, of course, you can teach them. And so there's like this exchange going on. I'm like, exchange, okay, sure. And the reason I laughed is because they were showing me like those rolls of paper, and for some reason I said exchange, and then they showed me the paper, and then I got like a shot of the stock exchange, you know, like ticker tape. So that is a connection for me. That's why I laugh. Like, my synchronicities are very weird. I don't think they make much sense to other people. I try to explain them, and then people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, well, it makes sense in my head. So that's why I laugh, because exchange. Stock exchange, ticker tape. Look at the card. Boom, ticker tape. So there's an exchange of energies. There's an exchange of knowledge between you and this other person. And I think it's very beautiful. If it's not a younger person, if you're some type of person that doesn't know any young people, which is possible, I think this is about sort of being kind to yourself, taking the time and investing in your own energy or investing in your own life. You know, maybe literally taking your pennies, stacking them up for a few months, and then putting them into sort of a savings account with a good percentage. Save that one. Okay. So yeah, it might just be about investing your money and watching it grow slowly, or, you know, taking the small seeds that you have now, the immature, very young seeds in terms of the page element, and putting them away and watching them mature over time. Beyond the spring, that would be, of course. So yeah, I like that as an outcome for you, Leo. I really do. Comparatively, I think it's better than what some other people have gotten so far. Now, for your overall energy for the month, you have Justice. Oh my God, with this camera. Card of Libra, so there might be a Libra of significance in your life, but there does not have to be. Justice, of course, talks about justice, talks about things being fair and balanced, and all is right on the waterfront, or however that phrase goes. Everything is right as rain, right? I feel like for some of you, you might be taking up this energy. You might be taking up this position as someone who has an interest in justice. So some of you, especially if we were talking about that young person, and when I said that earlier, young people are actually more accepting than others or previous generations. The vision I got in my head was of young people earlier in 2018, maybe in 2017, when they were protesting here in the States over school shootings, and how they marched on Washington and they marched locally. Like, you had these young kids in junior high and high school really organized, really focused on something that is a social justice issue. Here that is, you have this justice card. So you might be partnering with a young person interested in social justice. They might be talking to you about things, and maybe they don't volunteer, but it inspires you to volunteer, and it inspires you to get involved in your community. So there is something about you also kind of taking up the mantle, or taking up a cause, taking up an issue. And it doesn't have to be like a national or local issue. It could be something even internal within your family circle, or within your friendship dynamics, whatever. And you're just kind of stepping up to the plate and becoming sort of this pillar for what is fair, what is just, what is right for everyone involved. You know, Leo can be diplomatic, but it's not something that I think Leos are known for strictly. We do have, ooh, look at me saying we. I try not to say we, but there I am. So I just put myself into this portion of the reading. So we often can be an arbitrator for issues amongst friends or family, or, you know, two sides of an argument. We can sort of bring people to sit around the table and break bread with each other and see that an issue gets resolved. Leo loves a good time, loves for people to get along, can get involved in drama, can get involved in disagreements, but ultimately doesn't want to see an argument for argument's sake. That's the business of other zodiac signs. Leo believes in argumentation if you have a point to make, if you have a side, or if you have a perspective that hasn't been recognized, has been undermined, then Leo says, yeah, you're right, let's hear what you have to say. So some of you might be doing that. Some of you might be trying to sort of find a middle ground for two opposing sides on an issue, or two opposing sides in your family, in your friend circle, whatever it is. And I think that might be a new role for some people. a good portion of you. That might be something you've never done before. If you're an older person in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, you might have always kind of stayed to yourself, stayed out of the drama, never really wanted to take sides or said your piece and then left the room and let them hash it out. And now you're actually coming back into the room saying, you know what? We have to find a solution here. Let's talk about this. Let's get to the bottom of the issue here. And maybe somehow this justice card circles back to what you're trying. Yes, maybe that's the part of yourself that some of you, not all of you, but some of you have struggled to connect with, this more compassionate side of yourself, or this more diplomatic part of yourself, where you've always wanted to get involved in social justice. You've always wanted to help people who basically didn't have a forum or didn't have a big enough voice to speak. Leos usually have a big enough voice to speak for themselves and 10 other people. So you might now be trying to figure out, how can I put a voice to, how can I get people to pay attention to this issue or this community of people who need help. And so I'm a great speaker, or I have money, or I have time. 1 second. I lied. I had one more in me. So yeah, I have all this resource. I have certain resources or skills available to me. Going back here, let me utilize myself. Let me utilize my natural skills for somebody else's benefit. Boom. Thank you. We got that. Right there. Leo, that is your January reading. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button. It's right down below. It's very obvious. It's a little thumbs up button. That would be great. You can also comment on the video. I'd love to hear your stories, how it resonates with you, what you think I meant when I said whatever I said. I don't even know what the hell I said just now. But any feedback, I welcome it. I appreciate it, okay? Also down there, the share button. Share the video across your social media if you want other people to see it. That's amazing. I appreciate that. And of course, subscribe if you have not subscribed already. If you're not subscribed to me, you keep watching me, what's going on, guys? You don't like me? I like you. If you had a YouTube page, I would subscribe to you. So if you're not already a subscriber, I would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. And if you don't, I totally respect that choice as well. Regardless, I will be back in a few weeks' time. I will not be sick, I promise you that. And I will do your February readings at that time. Until then, guys, I thank you so much for stopping by. Take care. Bye.